Hi everyone. Today I have another beauty. This one is from Mead's Knives. And to me, I think he's a newer maker, although now, at 2024, he's not a new maker. But from someone who started collecting, quite a few years ago, maybe 8 years ago, he wasn't in the scene back then. So to me, he's relatively new. And so I haven't been trying too many knives from newer makers. There's a bunch of names out there, a lot of knives, and generally I feel like the work is still, from images and videos, it's still not up to par with some of the older makers who make them much more refined. The angles are shaped much better. The design as well is much more, I guess there's a lot of refinement in the design and the way it's built, and getting rid of the odd angles. But this one is an exception. So I had to try one out. This one is the Swordfish, and wow, now that I have this in hand, this is really, really impressive. So let's go through the knife a little bit. When I first saw the pictures on Mead's channel, I thought it was a bit bigger, but I'm pleasantly surprised that it is smaller, because generally I do enjoy smaller, lighter knives. He makes, his first, I guess, tactical folder is the Guardian. That one is big, but this one is much smaller. So it is the Swordfish, and let's start with the blade. Blade is a really, really beautifully mirror polished, I believe, Dama steel blade. But I have not seen this pattern before, but it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's very high flats, but the blade is actually quite classic. Lovely top swedge, nice drop point blade, but somehow very elegant at the same time. If you look at his Instagram, he usually makes typically more traditional folders, and I guess slip joints as well. So that's why I haven't really been collecting his stuff before. It's also mostly slip joints. But I noticed that the finishing work that he does is really amazing. Check out the frame. It's got a genuine Westinghouse micarta frame, or I guess inlay, and the black micarta as well, which really, really beautiful polished. And obviously when you have micarta and micarta, the seam is seamless. You can put your nail to it and you can't feel anything. Micarta is usually easier to make it flush, but still, every time you feel it and feel how seamless it is, it's extraordinary. You feel like, wow, the precision on this is really incredible, especially when you come over to this top part. The way he was able to fit it in such a thin layer of black micarta on top, when you cut it out, it's really, really difficult to do so. So that's really impressive. Again, it's a more simple classic build, but executed perfectly, which I don't see, too many of today in terms of newer makers making new designs. I think this is excellent. Excellent design, excellent fit and finish. Now let's talk about the action. First off though, lovely thumb stud, really nice and tall, and the action really reminds me of the touch knives It's really, really snappy, easy to open. It's super easy to open, and it's super smooth to close. If you ever try touch knives, this is somewhat similar in terms of how easy it is. But on another hand, for some reason, because the way the frame has many different layers to it, many different angles, if you notice, there's one chamfer, two, how this is rounded, there's another chamfer here, the frame with more angles and chamfers. These are all the details that make the knife feel very soft in hand. This knife just melts in your hand. It feels so soft, extremely comfortable, and it flips really, really well. I really enjoyed that. Oh yeah, here's the maker's mark on the top of the blade. I love how he has his own custom pivot. He also provides a tool in the box that it comes with. The centering is on point. Check out the backspacer. For some reason, he chose to use steel for the backspacer with Westinghouse micarta inlays, which is a really beautiful touch. Again, seamless. This time, though, it is micarta on steel, but you can still feel no seam going across each of the sections, which is incredible. This is really, really incredible, because when you have two materials that are, basically, both micarta, when you sand it down, it sands down at the same rate. So it's easier to get it flush, and you can use epoxy. That's how you usually do the inlays. You use epoxy, which is similar to glue, and you can kind of like sand them together. It can be, I guess flawless in the transition. But here though, if you have steel and micarta, when you start sanding one material, only the micarta goes down, but the steel stays, high up. But here he was able to match it perfectly. I haven't checked this out before, but I'm really, really pleasantly surprised. Extremely well built. That's crazy. All right. The pocket clip, nice and simple. It's well shaped. There's a little playfulness to it, not sharp at all. But it goes really easy in and out of the pocket. You can't see that it is locked in from this side as well. And boy, I really love simple pocket clips like this. That just works really, really well. Love it. The lockup is solid. Check out the plunge grind, also perfect. He's the type of person who takes his time perfecting his craft with the slip joints before coming to tactical folders, but boy, I'm blown away, really, really blown away by his work. There are multiple opening methods actually. So one is the front flipper, which, to be honest, I don't really like front flippers. I can try opening it, but I'm not very good at it. There we go. It's just, ergonomically, when you try to open it, it almost feels like the knife is going to fly out of your hand. And it's just, for me, it's not a pleasant feeling, because you kind of hold it out. I don't know. It's not as secure as, when you use the thumb stud and you kind of dig it into your hand and then open. It's a lot more solid. The third way, actually, that you can open is with the flipper tab. Here, it's actually really, really, really small, so it's not a primary method of opening. Again, it's really not ideal. I think it's a little bit too short for me to get any meat on the tab, but you kind of have to push your meat of your finger in and then drag it, then it can open. but to me, not really a pleasant feeling. I get that, he wanted to make the design very minimal because you see that it only pokes out a little bit at the end, which I appreciate. For those, who may want to have more opening methods, you can have the flipper tab, the front flipper, and then the flipper. So I guess this is the best of all worlds. I like using the thumb stud, so that's what I'll be doing basically 100% of the time. So there you have it. A really, really impressive piece by Dice Meads. And hope you enjoyed the video. If you have the chance, especially those of you who haven't tried his work, really highly recommend. I think this is a top-notch knife. The action is so smooth, perfectly tuned. So yeah, there you have it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.